Welcome back to part three. So another abrupt ending to part two when our phone ran out of space. So as I was saying, we defined a separate equilibrium to be different types receive different outcomes. So my example earlier, the students who have no emergency do not take the makeup exam. Students who really do have an emergency do take the exam, so different types, different results. So the other main category of equilibria is called a pooling equilibrium. So that means that all types are pooled together, so all types get the same outcome. So that can be problematic in some cases if you have things like adverse selection going on, but sometimes you can sustain pooling equilibria. So that's how screening works. Now let's look at signaling. So for screening is where the less informed side takes action to test or screen out the more informed side. So the professor who has this difficult makeup exam to figure out who has a real crisis, who does not. With signaling, the more informed side is taking action to reveal their type. So our example is going to be, we'll look at the job market. So everyone's going to claim on their resume, I'm a great worker, outstanding communication skills, etc., etc. Not everyone actually is a good worker in real life. So how do employers tell a difference? So one way you try to signal your type is through education. So a lot of things you do in your education mimic what you'll be doing later on a job. So you have to be able to take directions from a boss when you're working. Well, in school, you take directions from a professor. You got to be able to deal with deadlines in a job. In school, you got to deal with deadlines for homework and exams. So if you get a good education, you prove yourself to excel in the classroom, it's probably a pretty good sign that you're going to do well in the job market as well once you get a position. So in this case, the workers know their type. They know if they're going to be productive or unproductive. Employers can't observe that directly, but they can observe your education, and that's how I deduce what your true type is. That's how I know if you're going to be a good worker or not. So everyone can say in their resume, I'm a great worker with outstanding communication, interpersonal skills. Not everyone can get a degree from Binghamton University, so that signal is credible, while just saying a resume, I'll be a great worker, is not credible. So here's how you can model the situation. So to model the employer's uncertainty of nature, determine if the worker is going to be productive or unproductive. And the employer is going to be unsure which one they're at, so we draw an information set around their two nodes. Either higher or not higher. Payoffs, let's say for the worker does not get hired, that's always going to be 0, 0, so no change. You don't get the job and they don't employ you. Let's put the firm's payoffs on top and workers on the bottom. So the firm that hires the lazy worker is going to regret that later. So they're going to get a payoff of -1. The lazy worker, however, is happy about getting a job. Their payoff is going to be +1. The firm that hires the productive worker is going to be happy to get someone good join their team, while the worker is going to be happy that they found a job. So that's going to be +1 for both sides. Hang on a moment. I had to switch pencils as my other pencil was running out of lead. All right. So now that's the game if there's no way to signal. The employer just clueless as to which node they're at. They're dealing with a productive worker or with a lazy prospective worker. So the idea is that if you really are going to be productive, if you have the skills to deal with deadlines and work with your boss, stuff like that, then getting education is going to be easier for you. Someone's going to struggle with deadlines and struggle with dealing with their boss is going to find education to be very, very difficult and very unpleasant for them. So the employer can the employer can deduce the type based on your education. So let's say the employer is going to give the good job to the worker the education, and to not get the good job, give them a worse job to the workers who are not having a good education. So now a game might look like this. So we're showing two possibilities here of productive and lazy workers. And now I'll have the worker make a choice as to whether they want to get education or not. I know with our setup, there's no information set over here because the worker knows what their type is. It's only the employer who is uncertain about the productivity of a prospective hire. So a productive worker gets the education and also the good job. Let's say the payouts are going to be 1 and 0.5. So again, firm's payouts are on top, workers on the bottom. In our earlier game, the payouts were 1, 1. But let's say the good worker has a little bit of disutility from having to go to school, so that brings their payoff down from 1 to 0.5. If they decide not to get a good education and they get the bad job, that's going to be 0, 0. So the lazy worker faces the same choice. They get no education and then get the worst job, which we'll model as 0, 0. If they do get education, the employer still ends up regretting hiring someone who's lazy, so they get a -1 payoff. However, like we said earlier, the lazy worker finds it really, really difficult to go to school. It's very, very tough for them, so much so that going to effort is actually not even worth it for them. They get a payoff of -0.5 because going to school is just so hard for them, and even though they got a good job at the end, it's just not worth all the effort in their view. So what's going to happen in our game, our lazy worker is going to prefer to get no education and take the bad job because studying all those hours because it's hard for them was just too much, not worth it. Our productive worker is going to prefer to get the education good job because for them, getting a payoff of plus 0.5 is better than getting 0. So again, you got a separating equilibrium. The productive types had a different choice and different outcome than the unproductive types. So I'll try something different here. Instead of having the video end abruptly when the phone runs out of memory, I'll stop it here so we get a break in a more natural place. So stay tuned and come back for episode 4, and we'll learn more about signaling and screen.